All right, so today we're going to learn about end behavior. At this point, you should already have learned about U-turns. So here in this one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 U-turns. You should also have learned about degree, which is the highest exponent that you see in the function, as well as standard form, the constant or the y-intercept, all of those characteristics. But now we're going to learn about end behavior. So this tells me that a local maximum is the peak right here. So we see that that's where it starts to go back up and may or may not be the highest. That's why it's called local. So it's not necessarily the maximum, but if we're looking here, it is a max. And if we're looking here, these are mins. End behavior is specifically talking about what's happening here. So this one, it's going down. If I just added my arrow here, this one is going down. This one is also pointing downward as well. So that's what we mean when we talk about end behavior. What's happening at the ends? What's happening as this side goes toward negative infinity? And what happens as this side goes toward positive infinity in relation to the x-axis? Okay, so this one's just going to keep going that way. This one's just going to keep going that way. That's what end behavior is talking about. So let's scroll down and look at this worksheet. It says we can determine the behavior of each end of a polynomial just by analyzing the function rule. So that's the equation. So just by analyzing this function, we can determine what its end behavior is going to look like. But we need to take a few things into consideration. Is the degree even or odd? So is it a number like 2, 4, 6, or is it a number like 1, 3, 5? Is the leading coefficient positive or negative? Does the graph rise or fall on the left? What about on the right? So for this one, it's falling on the left and falling on the right. And then it wants us to sketch it. So I'm going to go to Desmos, and I'm going to graph I'm going to go to Desmos, and I'm going to graph x plus 3. Which means that on the left, I am falling. On the right, I am rising. Then if I'm asking about the degree, this is x. So that means it has an exponent to the first power. So the degree is 1, and 1 is an odd number. And then again, it's asking me about the leading coefficient. That also has to be 1 because it's just x. So that means it's 1x. And 1 we know is a positive number. So here we have an odd degree, a positive leading coefficient. It goes down on the left and up on the right. And I can sketch that like this. That's what that looks like. So I'll do up, up. And the sketch is just going to look like that. It's a parabola. The degree we see here is 2. And 2 is an even number. And then again, there's no number in front of the x, which means it has a coefficient of 1. So our leading coefficient is 1, and that is also a positive number. So now I want you to fill in the rest of these. So graph them on Desmos. Graph all of these functions on Desmos. And see what's happening on the left, what's happening on the right, sketch it, and fill in if the degree is positive or, even or odd, and what the number is, and if the leading coefficient is positive or negative, and what the number is.